Welcome to the Phil Steele Plus Tour with selections for November the 23rd, 2024. Up for you today, I've got 5 selections and 5 quick hitters for you. Quick check of the records. Last week we went 3-2 on our selections. The selections are now 12-7 over the last 4 weeks. And in November, the tour selections now 22-12 over the last 2 years. So a nice winning week for the selections. Quick hitters went 1-3 last week. I'm going to vent a little bit on one of those, but we'll get to that when I get to the quick hitters. Quick hitters now 10-8 over the last 4 weeks. We're going to start off with the revenge game of the week. And the revenge game of the week, a winner again last week. And it's not hard to come up with the revenge game of the week winner. When you look at the schedule predictor, and by the way, for the schedule predictor, you just go here to the menu of Phil Steele Plus, and you click on the schedule predictor, and then you click right here, and it takes you to the schedule predictor each and every week. So keep that in mind. That's the way you get there. And what I do is I just chop it down to the ones we're going to talk about today. So for the schedule predictor today, we're going to look at USC and UCLA, and that should be on here. It is. It's a 2-play for USC, but it is a revenge play. And you see here a revenge 3 play. Now, the revenge plays actually went 1-2 last week. They are 31-18 this year, 79-38 over 2 years on the schedule predictor. Anything in green is a best bet on the schedule predictor. Out here it gives you the overall best bet record. Last week there was 11 best bets for the schedule predictor. Went 7-4, now 24-14 on the year. And that is 54-42, 24-14 curve run, 54-42 on a year. And these are all, the majority of these are big ones here on the schedule, or on the schedule predictor. But let's get to the revenge game of the week. First of all, the revenge factor. USC was a favorite last year and lost to UCLA. That is a must to make it as a revenge 3. Last year, USC was -5.5, and they actually lost 38-20. Now, some folks are going to point out that UCLA is 1-9 straight up on the road, and that is actually true. Here you see this year, they have not won a road game all year. But guys, this game is in the city of Los Angeles, the same city. It's not a road trip. So throw out the road record here in this one. And it's nice because USC will have plenty of fans there. Sort of negates the home field edge. Now, USC is actually 5 plays away from being 10-0. You go back to this Michigan game. Michigan made a 4th and goal at the 1 for the touchdown at the end to win. Minnesota, USC up by 7, had the ball and fumbled. Penn State, USC led the entire game. Here's the half times that you can see. They led 20-6 at the half, led the entire game. If you take a look here, USC, the home team, led 7-3, 14-3, 17-3, 20-13, 23-20. Did not trail in this game until they lost it in overtime. Then the Maryland game, they were up by 7, and I'll show you that box score real quick. They're up by 7. It's 28-22. They're up by 6, and they go for the game-winning field goal in the 4th quarter, and it gets blocked. I go through the play-by-play of every single game, but anyway, you come down here. Here is USC, and here's a field goal, 41 yards. If they make it, they win, and it's blocked. And Maryland gets a touchdown right here with 53 seconds left in the game to beat them. And then the Washington game, twice they were inside the Washington 20-yard line, got stopped on downs at the end of the game. If we take a look there, we'll fly down here and see where they got stopped. USC right here, they got stopped at the 14-yard line and stopped at the 1-yard line. So 4th and goal at the 1, had they made that, they would have won that game. So they're basically 5 plays away from being 10-0. UCLA is 4-6, a close record. But when you look at some of the mutual opponents, example, they beat LSU by 7. They lost LSU by 17. They beat Rutgers by 22. They beat Rutgers by 3. And then Washington, they lost to by 5, and they lost to by 12. Seems close, but let's go take a look at that game real quick. And at the end of the game, we're going to see that UCLA, at the very end of the game, scores a touchdown with 8 seconds left. So the score is 31-13. UCLA scores a touchdown with 8 seconds left. I call that a garbage touchdown and usually eliminates, so not as close as the final score would indicate. And then you take a look here. In conference play, UCLA is -9 yards per game. USC is +4, not yards, points per game. USC is plus 4 points per game. USC is plus 44 yards per game. They're minus 21. They're playing with revenge. They're the better team. It's only 4.5, and there's not much of a home field edge here. We're going to take USC minus 4.5 as the revenge play. And once again, those revenge plays red hot on the schedule with Predictor over 2 years. A remarkable trend, about 66%. Let's get to your technical play of the week. Now, this is something I added to the schedule Predictor. It was this column out here, your technical angles. And what I do is I've got Wake Forest has 3 angles working for it. They've got the away dog angle, which would apply to Wake Forest. They've got the home favorite angle, and they've got a double-digit ACC favorite angle. I'll show you those angles, but that's how to read this. So, in other words, App has got the home dog and away favorite angles working for him. You can check those angles in your magazine. Generally, it goes back over the last 10 years. Or you could check it right here on Phil Steele Plus. You don't even have to refer to your magazine. So let's get this one up here. We got Wake Forest on the road against Miami. We're going to put Wake Forest on the left, and we are going to put Miami on the right. So Wake Forest on the left, and we're going to take a look at their angles. We're going to take a look at their away dog record. And Wake Forest as an away dog, as you see here, if you eliminate this 5-6, they're 15-10, and this year they're doing well in that role. So overall, as an away dog, let me see if I've got the record. They're 18-9 ATS as an away dog. They won last week for the tour here at North Carolina. Remember, I talked to you about the fact that they actually have a better away record, yards per game, than they do at home, and North Carolina the same. We talked about that last week, and Wake Forest got the win for us last week as well. For Miami, they're a poor home favorite. If we take a look here, home favorite 1-3, 1-4, 2-4, so that's 2-7, 3-11. They're actually 4-10 as a home favorite under Cristobal. And then the thing I like here, this is more numbers than are in the magazine. We could take a look at conference favorite double digit. So that's all laid out for you here. And you look 1-2, 1-1, 2-3, 0-2, 8-14. Take away this 1-1, you got 7-13. And this year, Miami is, well, they're 6-16 is the record as a double-digit favorite versus the ACC. And then you factor in the last 4 weeks. You see here the last 4 weeks great. I love the last 4 weeks, especially this time of year. Last year, it really heated up. The last 4 week selections were really hot down the stretch last year. This is saying Miami's playing to 117 level the last 4 weeks. Wake Forest playing to 102 level. So add in the 3-point home edge. You're looking at Miami by about 18 points here. Actually, we give them a better home edge than that. So let me click back on the schedule for a minute and see what we came out with. We add in the home field edge from the magazine, and it's Wake Forest is a 19.5-point dog, but they're getting 25 points here, so that's a lot. My plus-minus power ratings have them by plus 19.8. The preseason, plus 14. It's a triple technical play, so it's a 4 play here. 4 best bets going for it. It's Wake Forest plus 25 over Miami of Florida, and that's your technical game of the week. Let's go to your wrong team favored game. We're going to put West Virginia on the right, and we're going to put Central Florida on the left. Personally, at first glance, I looked at West Virginia, Central Florida, also known as UCF, and I said, you know what? These two teams are pretty even. I would think West Virginia is going to be favored by 3. Guess what? Central Florida is a 3-point favorite. So let's go to the Big 12, put Central Florida up there. We'll put West Virginia over here. Central Florida this year, with Gus Malzahn on the road. Let's take a look at their record against the spread on the road. Just click over here. All right, and we see road. Let's see, ATS, away favorite, away dog. They're 2-4, 3-3, 1-4, 2-3, 2-4. So you see they're not that good on the road. I've got that Gus Malzahn as 6-12 ATS on the road. Meanwhile, West Virginia at home is a good team against the spread. Now, they didn't cover last week against Baylor, but this is a good team against the spread at home. You see here 5-1, 3-2, 4-2, 4-1. So good record against the spread at home. In fact, 18-11 over the last 4 years. Now, we go back to the schedule predictor here for this one. My plus-minus power ratings say West Virginia should be favored by 4. Last year, West Virginia, and this is how this is determined, it's minus 19. West Virginia went into Central Florida and won the game last year by 13 points. So they at home now. They were at Central Florida. So take away Central Florida's 3-point home edge, give it to West Virginia, win by 13 now at home. You're a 19-point winner. If you take away the 3 and add the 3, it's a 6-point difference all the time. That's how that's determined. My preseason number was West Virginia -3, and the angles are there. So once again, it's a big best bet play. And the situation, now the situation got amplified by the fact it's cold weather, and UCF is talking about that. They're coming from the warm weather to the cold weather, and it's something that concerns them. So that this situation, and how to read this, if this is a positive number, that means play the home team. And I only best bet anything that's 1.5 or more. So the situation favors West Virginia this week. That makes this a 5 best bet play. It is West Virginia +3. The wrong team's favored here. West Virginia should be favored by 3. All right, let's get to your situational play of the week. And for the situational play of the week, we're going to take a look at App State against James Madison. Now, James Madison is on the road for a second straight week. And this goes back to that situational category that we were looking at here. And let's see how the situational plays are doing. The situational plays went 7. I got to fill these in yet, guys, these numbers from last week. I just running a little bit behind this week. We had a couple of unforeseen circumstances and 61 games to deal with. But I'll get these records updated for you from last week, and then I'll update the year-to-date, and I'll update the 2 years. But if you see the situational plays, they were 7-3 last week, 56-35 on the season, and 112-77. You can see here the last 4 weeks, 81-56. Like I said, I didn't update the record. I'll get that updated for you. But 81-56 last year, these last 4 weeks plays were on fire at the end of the year. And it figures because the last 4 weeks plays, and I'm not going to spend too much time. Do I have a last 4 week play coming up? I think I do, somewhere along the, yeah, I do have one. So I'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the situational plays. This is a 1.5 on App State. Now, why is it a 1.5? Well, James Madison is traveling for a second straight week. They're off a big win against Old Dominion, a game they trailed at the half, and they ended up coming back and getting the win there, but it was a tough game on the road. Now they've got to travel again. Meanwhile, App State is 4 wins. They need to win their last 2 to get to a bowl. They're having a disappointing season, but they're off a bye at home. Tremendous situational edge. Second straight road game against a team off a bye, off a big win against a team desperate for a win. I love that. And once again, this is one where I was a little surprised at the number. James Madison is a 7-point road favorite in this game. So 7-point road favorite for James Madison. And we got App State, my current average game grade. Well, let's take a look at that. Average game grade for the season, they're playing at 100.1. App at 94.3. You add in the home field edge. And my current average game grade, App does get a pretty good home field edge. They've got a really good straight-up record at home. And they also fit the technical thing. Look at their home dog record. Since 2017, home dog, and this year they have been a home dog once, and they won that game. So they are 3-0 ATS as a home dog. And then we take a look at James Madison as an away favorite. They are 1-2 this year. They did win at Old Dominion, but they lost straight up against Georgia Southern. They lost to ULM. So you've got a team that is not doing well as an away favorite. You got one that's really good as a home dog, one that's really good at home overall. Look at this: 5-1, 5-2, 6-0, 5-1. This team is 52-10 straight up at home. Now this year their home record. Let's see what they got. They won. They lost. They won. They're 3-1 this year. So add that to their home record. They are 55-11 straight up at home, and they're a 7-point home dog here, guys. So it's a situational play of the week. And App, another thing I want to show you. We give you the last 40-plus years results. It's actually the last 43 years results. And this takes you all the way back here to 1976. Every team, if you wanted to go back and check spread records, it gives you totals in games. You can see when they moved up to the FBS here. But let's take a look at their final home game, if they win straight up. Final home game, win. Final home game, win. Now, bold means they win the game. The WL is against the spread, but you're a 7-point dog. You just have to win the game. Bold, last final home game, win. Now, here's a final home game loss, but it was only by 3. Final home game, win. 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 They are 9-1 in their final home games. The biggest loss was 3 points, and they're getting 7 points here. We're taking App State +7 over James Madison as a situational play of the week. All right, let's get to my conference YPG game of the week, and it's going to be Texas A&M against Auburn. This one's got some good stuff going for it, guys. And, I want to show you a couple things on Phil Steele Plus. This is the Phil Steele Plus Tour Selections. I know a lot of you have Phil Steele Plus. I just want to make sure you use it to its fullest. You can get this. This is pretty cool. Strength of wins, pain of losses. Now, if you beat a team, you get credit for every FBS win that team has. If they beat an FCS team, you don't get credit. If you beat an FCS team, you don't get any credit for their wins. Oregon currently number 1 at 46, Notre Dame 41, Ohio State. Hey, they say Indiana hasn't played anybody. They're at 37. That's the same as Texas, same as Georgia as far as the amount of wins of the teams that they've beaten so far this year. And then if you lose a game, you get credit for all the losses. And if you lose to an FCS team, you get credit for all their losses. Then we add the two together, and you can see the best records here. You're going to say, Phil, why is Boise State 32-0? They lost to Oregon. Guess what? Oregon hasn't lost a game. So they get credit for every one of Oregon's losses, which is 0, and that's why they're 32-0 in the strength of wins, pain of losses. Penn State only lost to Ohio State. SMU only lost to BYU, and that's how this is done. That's a pretty neat feature to take a look at each week. Also, the offensive YPG versus opponent average. That's right here. This tells you how a team is, and we're going to get into it on this game. In fact, let's take a look at where these two teams rank. Auburn is right here, number 17 in the country. Their offense puts up 56 yards above what their opponents allow in every other game. And their defense holds opponents to 78 yards per game below what the opponents have. Let me see where Texas A&M would be. Texas A&M, looking at 43, it'd be 79. So now we know where to look there. And if we come over here, 79 out here would be right here, Texas A&M. So Texas A&M's number 34 in the country. Auburn's number 17 in the country. Who's number 1? Oh, Ohio State. Miami of Florida's actually up there. How about that? Texas, Ole Miss, Penn State, Georgia, Oregon, Alabama, Indiana, LSU. LSU is up there despite their 4 losses this year. So that's an interesting stat to look at as well. But in this game, and the thing I love on these team pages, not only that they're color-coded green and red, you see here, you've got red for losses. Do you see a lot of red out here? This team's playing well. In fact, look at this. They're outgaining almost all of their opponents this year pretty handily. They are in conference play, in SEC play. You would think a team that has 2 wins and 4 losses would have maybe minus 30, minus 40 yards per game. They are plus 92. That's more like a team that is 6-1. Meanwhile, Texas A&M, they've only lost 1 conference game all year, but they're actually only plus 19 yards per game. Look at this. They got outgained here by LSU. They got outgained by Mississippi State. They got outgained by Arkansas. And, of course, they got outgained by South Carolina. Now, the conference YPG is something I added to the chart, to the schedule predictor just this year, just a couple weeks ago. And last week it went 1-3, but it is 21-13 on the year, and there are a lot of these this week, a lot of conference YPG games. Last week I had it mistitled, titled Conference YP or AGG, and it's Conference YPG, yards per game. So as you could see, I don't even have this one shown here. Okay, I should have had this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should have had this one up here, but Auburn is there as a best bet because of the fact they are actually plus 92. They are plus 19. So that means Auburn should be in a neutral field, probably about a 5 to 6 point favorite. You factor in the home edge, you should probably be an 8-point favorite, and they're a 2.5-point dog for this game. So your conference YPG game of the week, which given out here, the free plays given out here on the line are 2-1 this year. It's a new column. It is to take Auburn, and this one does factor into the last 4 weeks AGG. And once again, I should have showed this one as far as being on the tour or on the schedule. It is a best bet here in the conference AGG. Now, the last 4 weeks AGG. The last 4 weeks AGG really got on fire down the stretch last year because it ignores all these early games. All it takes a look at is the last 4 games. So in the last 4 weeks, that's this column right down here, you see Auburn is playing at 114.8 level. Texas A&M is playing at 107.9 level. That means Auburn is playing 7 points better, plus they're at home, generally a 4-point home edge in Jordan-Hare. That's 11 points Auburn should be favored by, and they're a 2.5-point dog. I urge you, if you're not already a Phil Steele Plus member, to get Phil Steele Plus and use these last 4 weeks. Go to the schedule predictor. Go down the last 4 weeks column. Look at the best bets for this week. I got a feeling they're going to have a really good week this week, just like they did last year, just like they have so far this year. Let's see what the record was heading into last week again. I do keep track. I didn't update it this week last night, but I'll get to it. Last 4 weeks, 37-30 this year, but 81-56. And last year it started out slow. And why? Because, the fifth week, when you go last 4 weeks, it's pretty much almost the same as this. But down here, you've got a whole different season. You're eliminating 6 games, and you're just playing the last 4, and that's when it gets to be at sharpest. So those are your 5 selections for the week. The 5 selections went 3-2 last week. They are 22-12 in November the last 2 years. Let's hope we have a big winning week there. Let's go to the quick hitters. Hey, a real popular segment, I don't miss it any week, is Scott Van Pelt's Bad Beats. And so I'm going to have a Bad Beat section just for one game and for me this week. And it was for the quick hitters. The quick hitters went 1-3 last week. And one of the losses was Notre Dame. And I just want to, if you didn't realize what happened in this game, not only was it 28-0, but let's go to the box score. It was 35-0. Now, not only was it 35-0, 35-7 after 3 quarters, but take a look at this. I'm watching the game, and twice the game was basically clinched. Here I'll show you what I mean. We're in the 4th quarter of the game, and we're going to take Notre Dame here. Wow, they finished the game at the 9-yard line. How about that? So Notre Dame drives down, and they get, where we got 30. Oh, that's the 3rd quarter. Let's go to the 4th quarter. All right, 4th quarter. Sorry about that. I didn't think Notre Dame got down there. It was impossible. All right, so here's Notre Dame. They drive all the way down to the prior to that, they did this. Here's Notre Dame here on this drive. Last drive of the 3rd quarter. It's 35-7. They get down 2nd and goal at the 9-yard line. We move to the 4th quarter. So Notre Dame's going to score again, basically clinch it. 3rd and goal, incomplete. So now it's 4th and goal at the 5-yard line. And they go for it, and they get stopped on down. So Notre Dame blew. All we needed was a field goal, and we clinched the cover because they would have been up by 31 points. And then even if Virginia, which was getting 21.5 scores, we still cover. So Virginia punts the ball back. Notre Dame drives right down. Now we just settle for the field goal this time from the 18-yard line. As soon as this field goal goes through the uprights, Notre Dame has won the game. Guess what? No good. And then Virginia gets the ball with 6 minutes left, drives down the field, 3rd and goal with 18 seconds left in the game. Touchdown. Virginia gets the backdoor cover. So quick hitters should have been 2-2 last week. Ended up 1-3, 10-8 the last 4 weeks. I just had to get that little vent out of the way. Let's get to your quick hitters, and we'll try to make these quick for you. But and I know a lot of you guys don't like UMass. And just a couple weeks ago, we went against UMass and won, which was very nice. So that with the Mississippi State play. But we're going with UMass this week, and the reason why we won this year, and it's a really interesting trend with Georgia. If you go back and look at Georgia, and I could take you back through the last 40 years' results, and we could go back and look at every time that this team was favored by 40 or more. Last year, favored by 50, they won by 41. Favored by 42, they pushed. This year, we used it on the tour. Georgia played Tennessee Tech, was minus 52.5. We won with Tennessee Tech. By the way, I do want to point out this as well. We do have logs available. If you want to keep track of, you don't have to fill in your magazine. You can fill. I know a lot of you guys fill in your magazine. And guys, every time you send me a picture, you fill in the magazine. I appreciate it. That's what I do with myself. But you can see here Georgia's record against the spread this year. Once again, the win-loss refers to the spread. But 52.5-point favorite, don't cover. 22.5-point favorite, don't cover. 21.5-point favorite, don't cover. 33.5-point favorite, don't cover. 14.5-point favorite, don't cover. Single-digit favorite, you got a chance. Over 14.5, they struggle. And that's not just this year. We can click back over here and see how they do as a 20-plus favorite. And if you take away this 2-1, you got 16, 30, and 1. The records for Georgia would be this. They are 0-0, 12-1 as a 40-plus favorite. 0-5 this year as a 14-plus favorite. 1-9-1 as a 20-plus favorite over the last 2 years. You see, 1-5-1 last year, 0-4 this year. And the other thing going for UMass, and I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there was 4 coaches so far that have been let go. And there's been that coach's bounce. You see it in all the other sports. First game after you fire a coach, they win against the spread, right? And so far this year, 4 coaches have been fired. The team played the next week. Guess what the record is? 4-0 ATS. So you got that going for you as well. We're actually going to take UMass plus 42.5 against Georgia. Georgia's off a massive game against Tennessee. They've got Georgia Tech on deck. Perhaps the SEC title game. We'll see. And then you've got the fact that they just do not cover as a 40-plus favorite. We're taking UMass plus 42.5. All right, let's go to Oklahoma State against Texas Tech. And this is an interesting one for you this week. Oklahoma State's on the right. Now, Oklahoma State's been abysmal. They have been just horrible. But they are off a bye, and it is their final home game. And a couple things going for you here. Oklahoma State is a dog. And let me show you this little tidbit here. As a home dog, this is from the logs, the last 40 years logs. I had Todd just chop it down and show you the last since 2016. They, as a home dog, win outright. Here they lost outright, and they actually lost against the spread. Win outright. You're talking about not only 8-1 coming into the year. Now, they did lose here when they were a home dog this year, but they are 8-2 against the spread, but 8-2 straight up whenever they're a home dog. So they're getting 3.5 here. You got to like that. What else we got going for us? My preseason line on the game is Oklahoma State minus 14. Even FBI agrees, saying Oklahoma State should be favored by 2.8. And then you've got the angles. Oklahoma State, let's look at their home record. Oklahoma State is a really good home team, 50-15 straight up at home. In fact, their home record, I got them at 34-11 is the recent home record. And how does Texas Tech do on the road? Texas Tech on the road is 2-4, 1-4, 2-3, 0-4, 1-5. They are 8-22 straight up on the road. So a poor road team, a strong home team, final home game as a home dog, a chance to do something to save their season. I like Oklahoma State in a circle the wagons game against Texas Tech. Your streak of the week, we're going to look at Colorado State against Fresno State. Now, you know what I say about streaks. When you play on a streak, you can win many times and you lose only once. Here we've got Colorado State against Fresno State. And Colorado State, let's take a look at their current spread streak. Oh, this one doesn't show it. Let me go back to this one here. And we will click on here. Okay, so we're going to go to the logs for Colorado State. And on the logs, we see that, let's see what we got here. Colorado State is win. 7 straight wins. And when you play on a streak, you can win many times, you lose only once. We also have a team here in Colorado State that is a very good away dog. And as you see here, 3-3, 3-1, 2-0. So it's 5-3, 8-4. They are 9-4 as an away dog. Fresno State is not a good home favorite, so we click on the home favorite. You see 4-6. They're actually 4-7 as a home favorite. And then the final factor here, besides the streak factor, is that when you take a look at how they do in conference play, Colorado State is plus 8 yards per game. Fresno State is minus 75 yards per game in conference play. So Colorado State's actually getting 3.5 here. The streak of the week, take Colorado State plus 3.5. All right, we'll move on to the North Carolina-Boston College game. And this game here, we'll put North Carolina on the left, Boston College on the right. Now, I talked to you last week about North Carolina and the difference, how they've been doing home and away. So if we take a look at North Carolina, we see that they actually are plus 115 yards per game on the road, only plus 49 at home. So we got them on the road. That's where we want them. In conference play, they're plus 43 yards per game. Boston College, minus 54. And look at this. Boston College did outgain Florida State in the opener and outgained Duquesne. They have been outgained in every single game since then. So sort of fortunate to pick up some of these wins. And other than that, they've lost. Now, North Carolina's only a 3-point home favorite here. And they are, if you look at how they are in conference play, minus 54. And at home, now here's an interesting one. At home, they're showing plus 16. Take away this plus 428 against Duquesne. Against FBS foes, they are minus 87 yards per game at home. They are plus 115 yards per game on the road. I'm going with North Carolina, minus 3 over Boston College. All right, let's get to your series play this week. And your series play, we're going to take a look at Arkansas State against ULM. And this one's going to be quick. I could show you a lot Well, we'll show you some stuff on this game. Put Arkansas State. Arkansas State's the home team, and they're only laying 2.5 here. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that at home, Arkansas State. Oh, let me quickly throw this up here, a tour special. If you want to join Phil Steele Plus Tour, just go to the store. The price right now, we dropped it this week. $69 gets you through the Super Bowl. You have access to all this information on the tour. Type in the code word expert wins. You get it for $59. You get $10 off. That's $393 per week. Just go to the Phil Steele store, type in expert wins, and you have access to all this information. We have NFL information up here, as you know, with the NFL. Browns won last night, but it gives you all this. You get individual player stats if you're a fantasy football player. Yes, you do get the spread logs like this for the NFL. You get the spread logs like this for the FCS. You get that complete logs. Nobody keeps track of FCS logs, right? We do. I'll have more on that on the FCS tape. We'll talk about FCS then. But let's talk about ULM against Arkansas State. Put ULM on the left, Arkansas State on the right. We've got a heck of a home team here. This team does well at home. 38-20 over the last 10 years. You take a look at ULM. They are 2-16 on the SBC road over the last 18 games. And then if we take a look here at Arkansas State's losses this year. They've got 4 losses. At Michigan, at Iowa State, at Texas State, one of the best teams in the Sun Belt, and at Louisiana. Other than that, they've won their games. They're only laying 2.5 here. And the thing about ULM, I've noted this. They had a great start to the season. Opened up 5-1. They were a Cinderella team. Well, guess what? The carriage turned into a pumpkin. Look what they've done the last 4 weeks. They are minus 130 yards per game, giving up 448 yards per game. Their defense had been playing well. Now it's back to reality. So you've got a team that's burst into reality. But here's the kicker, and the thing I love. When you click on these right here, you get the last 27 years matchups. And if you take a look at the last 27 years matchups, I'll blow this up a little for you and extend it. This means green means they won the game straight up. So you don't even have to look at the score. You know they won the game straight up. This is whether the home team won or covered. The word win means that the home team won. The color green means that the home team covered. But here's the one I want you to look at. Over here is the line on the game. If it is green, that means that this team covered, Arkansas State. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They have covered 14 in a row against ULM. It works like magic every year. Underdog, no problem. Underdog, no problem. Slight favorite, no problem. Big favorite, no problem. 14 in a row. You got all those other factors working for you. Your series play of the week is to take Arkansas State minus 2.5 over ULM. I'd like to take this time to thank you for taking the tour with me this week. I will be back Thanksgiving morning, so I'll give you your Thanksgiving wishes next week, and I'll be up for you Thanksgiving morning with the tour next week. And thank you for taking the Phil Steele Plus Tour with selections.